The envelope trembled in Sophia Carter's hands as she stood in the towering glass lobby of Montgomery Enterprises. 24 hours. That's all she had left in this gleaming monument to power and wealth that had been both her workplace and the backdrop to a love affair that consumed the last 2 years of her life. The resignation letter inside the envelope felt both impossibly light and unbearably heavy. At 27, with nothing but a rented studio apartment and modest savings to her name, Sophia was walking away from the only man she had ever truly loved, CEO Alexander Montgomery, whose penthouse office loomed 50 floors above where she now stood. "Are you sure about this?" Mia, her closest friend in the accounting department, squeezed her arm gently. "Once you hand that to HR, there's no going back." Sophia straightened her shoulders, the silk of her navy dress, purchased with her first bonus, smooth against her skin. "I've made my decision. 2 years is long enough to be someone's secret." The memory of last night's conversation still stung. Alex's deep voice, usually so confident and commanding in the boardroom, had faltered when she'd finally delivered her ultimatum. "Either acknowledge our relationship publicly, or I'm leaving." His silence had been answer enough. The man who could make billion-dollar decisions in seconds had been unable to choose her. The morning sunlight streamed through the massive windows, catching on the company logo, a stylized M that seemed to mock her now. How many times had she traced that same M on his bare chest in the darkness of his penthouse, believing that someday she'd be more than just his executive assistant by day and lover by night. "Ms. Carter," the receptionist's voice broke through her thoughts. "Mr. Richardson from HR will see you now." With a final squeeze of her hand, Mia disappeared back toward the elevator bank, leaving Sophia to follow the receptionist down the marble hallway. Each click of her heels echoed like a countdown to the end of everything she had built here. The HR office was nothing like Alex's expansive space, with its panoramic views of the city. Instead, Mr. Richardson's domain was all beige walls and practical furniture, with a small window overlooking the neighboring building's concrete facade. "Ah, Miss Carter, please have a seat." Richardson gestured to the chair opposite his desk, his expression professionally neutral. "I understand you have something for me?" "Yes." Sophia placed the envelope on his desk, her fingertips lingering for a moment before she released it. "My resignation, effective immediately. I've already cleared out my desk." Richardson's eyebrows rose slightly, the first crack in his professional veneer. Executive assistants to the CEO didn't simply quit without notice, especially ones as competent as Sophia Carter. "This is unexpected. May I ask why? Your performance reviews have been exceptional, and Mr. Montgomery has always spoken very highly of your work." "My work," Sophia thought bitterly. "Never of me. I've been offered another opportunity," she lied smoothly. In reality, she had nothing lined up, but her pride wouldn't allow her to reveal the truth. "It's time for a change." "I see." Richardson opened the envelope, skimming her formal letter. 2 years is a relatively short time to leave such a prestigious position. Are you certain we can't make a counter-offer? I'm sure Mr. Montgomery would authorize a significant raise to retain you." The mention of Alex's name sent a fresh wave of pain through her chest. "No amount of money would change my decision, but thank you." Outside the building 30 minutes later, Sophia inhaled deeply, tasting freedom and fear in equal measure. The city stretched before her, a maze of possibilities and dead ends. Her phone buzzed in her purse, Alex's private number flashing on the screen. She silenced it without answering. He'd had 2 years of her picking up on the first ring, day or night. Those days were over. 3 miles across town in his penthouse office, Alexander Montgomery stared at his unanswered call, a strange tightness gripping his chest. At 38, he had built an empire from the ground up, transformed a failing family business into a global corporate powerhouse. People didn't walk away from him. He was the one who always ended things, who always maintained control. "Sir?" His temporary assistant knocked timidly on his open door. "For the board members are gathered for the quarterly meeting." Alex nodded, sliding his phone into his pocket. He would deal with Sophia later. Surely this was just a negotiating tactic, a feminine ploy for attention that would resolve itself once she realized the futility of her ultimatum. Their arrangement had been perfect, passionate, private, without the complications of public scrutiny or expectations. The boardroom fell silent as he entered, 12 pairs of eyes tracking his movement to the head of the long table. Alex took his seat, forcing his features into the mask of confidence and authority that had become second nature. "Let's begin with the Q3 projections," he said, opening the folder before him. The numbers blurred on the page. For the first time in his career, Alexander Montgomery couldn't focus on the business at hand. The empty chair where Sophia usually sat during these meetings seemed to expand, becoming a void that consumed his attention. She had always been there, taking notes in her precise handwriting, anticipating his needs before he voiced them, passing him documents at exactly the right moment. "Alex?" The voice of his CFO, James Wilson, cut through his distraction. "Your thoughts on the Westbrook acquisition?" Alex cleared his throat. "Proceed with the due diligence. I want a full risk assessment by the end of the week." The meeting continued, but it felt as though he was operating on autopilot. When it finally ended 2 hours later, Alex returned to his office and closed the door, something he rarely did in the middle of a workday. From his window, he could see the entire city sprawled below, a kingdom he had built through relentless work and sacrifice. Relationships had always been secondary, temporary distractions at best. Until Sophia. 2 years was the longest he had ever been with anyone, yet he had never once considered her ultimatum seriously. Going public would mean questions, judgments, complications he didn't need. His phone buzzed with a text from James. "Everything okay? You seemed off in the meeting." Alex didn't respond. Instead, he found himself opening his photo gallery, scrolling to a hidden folder he rarely acknowledged. There she was, Sophia laughing on his yacht last summer, her golden brown hair catching the sunlight, eyes crinkled with genuine joy. It was the only picture he had ever taken of them together, a momentary lapse in his strict compartmentalization of their relationship. His thumb hovered over the image. Delete it and move on, as he had done with every other woman who had briefly entered his life. Or acknowledge the uncomfortable truth that nothing about Sophia Carter had ever been like the others. The intercom on his desk buzzed. "Mr. Montgomery? Dr. Hayes is on line 1. He says it's urgent about your test results." Alex frowned, picking up the phone. Montgomery speaking. "Mr. Montgomery, I've been trying to reach you. We need to discuss your latest blood work. The condition we've been monitoring has progressed significantly. I'd like you to come in immediately to discuss treatment options." As the doctor continued speaking, explaining the rare autoimmune condition that had been dormant for years but was now threatening his health, Alex's gaze returned to Sophia's smiling face on his